I've never told this story, not completely, not to anyone. I told pieces of it to a therapist, to a friend, to a police officer who wrote stress-related episode on a form and slid it across a desk. So I stopped telling it, decided it was easier to carry it quietly. That was 3 years ago. I'm telling it now because something happened last Tuesday. I woke up at exactly 2:47 in the morning, not from a dream, but all at once, the way a sound yanks you out of sleep. My phone was lit up on the nightstand. No notification, no alarm, just the screen glowing. And outside my apartment door, when I opened it, there was a bus ticket on the floor, damp, like it had been rained on. The destination line was blank. The date read November 14th. The same date as the night I'm about to describe. I don't think I ever truly got off that bus. My name is Daniel Harper. At the time I was 31, warehouse maintenance worker, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, ordinary in every way that matters. My sister Emily lived in Scranton. She'd just come through a divorce that had taken more out of her than it should have. I'd been putting off the drive for months. Then she called one Thursday and didn't say much, just sat on the line and breathed, and I knew. I left that night. November 14th. A cold that had teeth to it. I-81 was mostly empty, snow just starting, nothing I hadn't driven through before. Then around midnight the dashboard began to flicker, fuel gauge dipping, headlights dimming, engine dying near an exit I didn't recognize. A gas station clerk pointed me down a 2-lane road toward a bus terminal. I started walking. Outside, standing beside my dead car in the snow, I had the sudden certainty that someone was watching me from the tree line. I looked. Nothing moved. I kept walking. The terminal was low and long, fluorescent lights doing their best. One panel in the corner kept blinking on, off, like a pulse. A janitor mopped the floor near the far wall, moving in the same wide arc over the same 3 feet of tile, again and again, going nowhere. 6 people sat in the plastic chairs. None of them looked up. None of them moved in the small, unconscious ways people move, shifting weight, checking phones. They simply sat. The ticket clerk didn't look up from her screen. Last bus already left, 2:30. I turned away, then a voice close. There's always the 3 a.m. bus. An old man was sitting in the chair beside me. I hadn't heard him sit down. Dark wool coat, collar turned up, hands resting on his knees with the stillness of someone very tired. Runs its own schedule, he said. No company goes where you need to go. He looked at me steadily. Just know it doesn't run for free. I asked what that meant. When I looked back, he was gone. At exactly 2:47 a.m., the lights above Bay 12 flickered. The board showed Bay 12 as empty. No scheduled departure, nothing. But I heard the hiss of air brakes and walked to the window. The bus was already there. Black, peeling paint along the lower panels. No logo, no company name, no route number. The windshield was clouded from the inside. It made no sound. The door opened. The driver, dark jacket, hat pulled low, looked at me and gestured once. Get on. I thought about Emily. I thought about the snow outside and the dead car a mile back. I got on. The smell hit first, damp and cold like a basement that had flooded and never fully dried. The interior was old, cracked vinyl seats, yellowed panels, handrails worn smooth by decades of hands. 6 passengers, 3 on each side, all facing forward, all completely still. A conductor appeared from the front, tall, thin, uniform matching the vintage of the bus. He stopped beside my row and looked down at me. First time, he said, not a question. I just need to get to Scranton. Most of them do. He reached into his coat. There are 3 rules for this route I'm required to tell you once. He held up a finger. First, don't fall asleep. Another finger. Second, after the Susquehanna Bridge, don't look outside. He paused. Third, if you hear someone call your name, don't answer. Is this a joke? Something moved behind his eyes. The rules exist because the consequences exist. He walked toward the back of the bus. I turned to watch him go. There was nowhere he could have gone. He was simply gone. The bus began to move. I-81 at 3 a.m. should have had something on it. Salt rigs, state police, trucks. There was nothing. The highway unspooled ahead in twin beams of light and found only road and snow and darkness. No other vehicles, no exit lights, no towns. The trees alongside pressed in too close, wrong in their shape, their density. They didn't move despite the wind that should have been moving them. Then the temperature inside the bus dropped, fast. I could see my breath. We were on the bridge. I heard it before I understood it, a wet, rhythmic sound from below the floor. Like breathing. Something large keeping pace with the bus beneath the chassis. And beneath that, a slow scraping, metal on metal, running the full length of the floor. The man across the aisle turned his head and looked at me. He was the first passenger to move voluntarily. "I missed my ride in 2020, he said. His voice sounded distant like a recording. Kept thinking one more bus would come. He looked back at the seat in front of him. One more bus always comes. The overhead compartment above me burst open. A suitcase fell into the aisle, completely soaked, water spreading dark across the floor. Rolling beside it, a child's shoe, small, red. I looked back at the man across the aisle. His seat was empty, the doors hadn't opened. Then my dead phone buzzed. The screen was on, incoming call, no caller ID. The conductor appeared at the front of the bus. He looked directly at me and held up 3 fingers. Rule 3. I answered anyway. Silence, then breathing fast, terrified. Then my own voice came through the speaker, wound through with a fear I had never heard in myself. Don't let them see you. Whatever you do, don't let them. The call dropped. A face pressed against the window beside me. We were on a moving highway. The face was mine, my face, wearing an expression I'd never made in a mirror, lips shaping 2 words over and over against the glass. Let me in. I looked away and did not look at the window again. All 6 passengers raised their heads at once. And I understood, with the clarity of something the body knows before the mind does, that they had never been sleeping travelers. The woman in the gray scarf had a waterline at her throat, a faint discoloration at the exact height where someone lifts their chin to breathe and finds nothing left. The man in the back row held his neck at an angle necks don't hold. They looked at me with faces that had stopped pretending. The walls began to scream. Not the passengers, the walls. Human sounds compressed into the panels, packed into the ceiling and the floor, everything this bus had collected over whatever years it had been running this route. Through the windshield, the highway was gone. We were on a dirt road, trees pressing the sides of the bus, branches slapping the windows. The ceiling bowed downward, hands pressing palm flat from inside, fingers splayed. Faces pushing through, cheek pressed, I pressed. A teenage boy's face found mine. His mouth worked slowly against the ceiling material. I read the words clearly. You're still alive. The lights went out. Something heavy landed on the roof and walked from the back toward the front in slow, deliberate steps. The bus stopped. The doors opened onto a forest clearing. 4:30 a.m., ground soaked through, water pooling around the roots of the trees, the sky above showing nothing, no moon, no stars. The passengers filed out. I pressed myself against the far window and watched them descend into the dark. Then I looked at the clearing. Figures stood at the tree line, dozens of them, and as the dark revealed what it held, I understood what I was seeing. They were all me, every one of them, one with burns covering half his face, one with waterlogged clothes and lips gone blue, one with a crushed quality to his silhouette that I didn't let myself think about too long. All of them me. They spoke together, low, without emphasis. You missed your bus the first time. And then the memory came back, not in fragments, but whole, dropped into the front of my mind like something that had been waiting. A bus, a different bus, a normal one running a winter route 3 years earlier, black ice on the Susquehanna Bridge, the guardrail giving way, the water black and cold and fast and everyone still in their seats, and a gap somewhere at the back that panic and luck sent me through while the bus went down with the others still inside. I had gotten out, and I had spent 3 years telling myself that survival is just survival. The conductor stood beside me. The bus runs for the ones who never accepted what happened, and for the ones who survived but left something behind. He looked out at the figures, something that keeps pulling them back. I looked toward the driver's seat. The driver had turned around for the first time. Older than me by 30 years, but the face was mine, worn down by a long wait in a flooded clearing. His eyes were flat and dark as river water. "You left us behind," he said. My phone lit up, Emily's name on the screen. Her voice, or the shape of it, came through. "Your sister never stopped waiting for your body." I ran. A state trooper found me on the shoulder of I-81 at 6 a.m. I told him about the bus. He called an ambulance. I've seen the report since. It lists Daniel Harper as deceased. November 14th, 3 years prior. Bus accident. Susquehanna River crossing. 8 fatalities. 1 passenger recovered from the river listed as Daniel Harper. I have been living for 3 years as someone who, according to those records, drowned. I don't have an answer that satisfies me. What I know is this. On the Susquehanna Bridge, there's a report that comes in roughly once a year, always around 3 a.m., always in bad weather. A black bus, no logo, no route number, silent. Drivers describe the windows as clouded from the inside. One driver said the passengers were all turned to face him as it passed, all of them pressed against the glass. Smiling. I don't take buses anymore. I don't drive at night in November. And I don't answer my phone at 2:47 in the morning. But I'll say this, and I mean it, remember it. If you're ever on a dark highway late at night and someone points you toward a terminal down the road, if you miss your last ride home, don't wait for the next one.